Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. South Korean parliament begins vote on impeachment. Did not accept president's apology. Syrian rebels advance and push to take capital city of Damascus. India urges its citizens in Syria to leave at the earliest. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar starts Gulf countries' visit to Qatar and Bahrain to address Doha Forum on Saturday. And in Adelaide Pink Ball Test, Travis Head's scintillating ton puts India on the back foot. Australia's lead goes past 100 on day 2. Our top story, South Korea's parliament is voting on motion to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol over his attempt to impose the martial law. This comes as supporters of Yoon Suk-yeol took to the streets of Seoul earlier today. In a strong show of support for the South Korean president, thousands of demonstrators gathered at Gwanghwamun Square, singing, dancing, waving signs and Korean and US national flags. The pro-Yoon demonstrations comes as the South Korean president is in fact facing impeachment vote by lawmakers over his botched attempt to impose martial law earlier in the week. And South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol apologized to the nation for declaring martial law, which caused a massive public stir. In a televised address on Saturday, Yoon said he would not seek to avoid legal and political responsibility for his decision, adding it was made out of desperation. He also promised that there will be no second martial law declaration. Meanwhile, the leader of the ruling party, Han Dong-hoon, believes that President Yoon's early resignation is unavoidable.
I'm very sorry and would like to sincerely apologize to the people who were shocked. Regarding the declaration of martial law, I will not avoid any legal or political responsibility.
And in a press briefing, South Korea's main opposition leader Lee Jae-myung said that he will work hard to end President Yoon Suk-yeol's term early, despite Yoon's apology to the nation.
The greatest risk facing South Korea right now is the very existence of the president. The only solution are the president's immediate resignation or an early exit through impeachment. I will do my utmost to ensure the president's resignation or impeachment.
And as South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol faces impeachment vote, let's understand the impeachment process. Once the impeachment is tabled by the opposition, the assembly has around 72 hours to vote. Out of 300 seats, the ruling People Power Party has 108 members, while the opposition bloc has 192. For impeachment to pass, there would be a requirement of 200 votes, around two-thirds or 67% of the votes. Even if all of the opposition vote for the impeachment, at least 8 more votes from the president's party would be needed to pass the motion. Once the president is suspended, a constitutional court holds a trial and a period of 180 days to confirm the impeachment. All right, let's go across to DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh. He has more information on this. Shubhendu, President Yoon apologized in the morning, we saw, and now faces impeachment vote in the parliament. What is the latest are you picking up?
That's right, Abhishek. Yoon Suk-yeol, the president of South Korea, was given enough time to step down. There were a couple of occasions when there were anticipation that he would announce his resignation, including a little while ago when he apologized to the nation for the declaration of the martial law, but on no occasion did he show any sign of resignation or stepping down from his position. So impeachment appears to be the only way forward now. Now impeachment and him being removed from the position of presidency seems almost imminent. But there is a bit of technicality, as you also mentioned, that It requires two-thirds of the vote in the National Assembly, the Parliament of South Korea, to be able to remove the president. The opposition has 192 vote seats. 8 more are required. Most likely defection from his own party, the People's Party, is likely to ensure his impeachment, because there has been a widespread opposition to him from within his party. His own chief had spoken about the manner in which he must be removed from the position of presidency. We'll have to wait and watch how that impeachment vote pans out. But remember, impeachment vote is just one part of the impeachment process. From here, the impeachment process after the impeachment vote is complete, and if the National Assembly is able to impeach the president by over two-thirds of the vote, the matter goes to the Constitutional Court. It is about 9-member court. There are only 6 judges at present available in that court. 3 are yet to be elected. A bit of irony there is that these judges can be elected only by the president. So to have the entire quorum, to have 9 judges, will the president be electing new judges who will then sit over his own trial, is a bit of legal technicality that we'll have to watch out how it pans out. But what is, in fact, what we can confirm is that the political capital of President Yoon Suk Yeol is completely depleted. His popularity, his support from the public has seen the rock bottom now, just barely above double-digit figures. It has been a row of setback for President Yoon Suk Yeol since the beginning of this year, particularly when he lost that parliamentary election and lost a two-thirds of the majority nearly to the opposition. And now we'll have to wait and watch what are the circumstances under which he's removed.
All right, Shubhendu, thank you for the time being, but yes, we'll keep taking updates from you. Moving on to our next story, Syrian rebels claim they seized control of the southern city of Daraa, the birthplace of a 2011 uprising against President Bashar al-Assad, and the fourth city his forces have lost in a week. The rebels are now battling Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's forces from 2 directions, the north and the south, in an attempt to close in on Damascus.
Rebels on motorcycles stormed into the streets of Daraa on Saturday, the birthplace of the 2011 uprising against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's regime. Social media videos captured scenes of local fighters celebrating their takeover of the symbolic city, marking another blow to Assad's crumbling control. The rebel momentum has pushed them to the outskirts of Homs, a strategic city linking the capital to Assad's coastal power base. Daraa's fall is the latest in a string of high-profile defeats for Assad's forces. In less than a week, rebels have seized Aleppo, Hama, and now Daraa, inching closer to Damascus. The shockwaves from this offensive are reverberating across Syria. In Swida province, officials abandoned critical government buildings while local fighters seized control of key checkpoints, further dismantling Assad's authority in the south. Meanwhile, Iran has reaffirmed its unwavering support for Assad's regime. Iranian foreign minister met with his Iraqi and Syrian counterparts in Baghdad as Tehran doubled down on its alliance.
The threats of terrorism in Syria will not be limited to Syria, and it is a threat to all neighbors and the entire region. If Syria becomes the shelter for terrorists, with the return of ISIS and other terrorist groups, it will create a great threat to the region, and this threat will definitely not be limited to Syria and will accelerate into Syria's neighboring countries such as Iraq, Jordan, and Turkey.
The US is also keeping a close eye on developments. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke with his Turkish counterpart to discuss developments on Saturday. In view of the deteriorating security situation in Syria, India issued an advisory to citizens to avoid all travel to Syria until further notice. The US and Russia have also asked their citizens to leave the country immediately. At least 370,000 people, mostly women and children, have now been displaced in Syria due to the latest escalation in fighting, according to the UN Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. The ongoing fighting in Syria is expected to displace around 1.5 million people, says the UN World Food Programme. This is a breaking point for a food crisis in the country where 12.9 million people are already considered food insecure. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has condemned Russia's ongoing attacks, highlighting the devastating toll of its strikes on Ukrainian cities. In a post on social media platform X, Zelensky wrote, and I quote him, "Russia's words mean nothing, but their bombs and missiles speak volumes," unquote. Zelensky's statements came after Russian attacks on Ukraine's southeast killed 12 people and injured more than 40. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky officially handed over the first batch of Peklo, which are domestically developed and built long-range cruise missiles, to the country's armed forces. The president announced the development from his official X handle, saying that the missile that puts Moscow within range is now being geared up for full-scale production and operational use. And hundreds of pro-EU protesters and police clashed in Tbilisi on early Saturday morning after a standoff near the Georgian parliament. The police officials were seen using water cannons and tear gas to curb the violent situations as the protesters used fireworks, bottles and stones against the police. The protests near the parliament have been lasting for over a week, often resulting in riot police dispersing the rallies. Tens of thousands of demonstrators have clashed with riot police in Georgia over the week in protest against the governing Georgian Dream Party's decision to suspend talks aimed at joining the European Union until 2028. Now, Romania's top court annulled an ongoing presidential election after accusations of Russian meddling. The court ruled that entire process will have to be rerun despite the second round being scheduled for Sunday and voting already underway in some polling stations abroad. The election would have pitted Calin Georgescu, a far-right pro-Russian candidate, against pro-European Union centrist leader Elena Lasconi. Georgescu scored single-digit numbers in opinion polls before the first-round vote on November 24th, but then surged to a first-place finish that raised questions over the result. And angry French farmers criticized the EU-Mercosur trade deal, citing unfair trade standards that they argue threaten local agriculture. The deal, which aims to establish a free trade agreement between the European Union and the Mercosur bloc, has sparked widespread concern among European farmers, particularly in France. Farmers are worried that the deal will flood the EU market with agricultural products from Mercosur countries. They argue that this would create an uneven playing field, as European farmers are subject to strict regulations designed to ensure high environmental and quality standards, including measures to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, protect biodiversity and uphold animal welfare. A U.S. appeals court rejected TikTok's attempt to question the constitutionality of a law requiring TikTok to separate from its Chinese owners or face a U.S. ban. The law signed by President Joe Biden in April would block TikTok from U.S. app stores and web hosting services unless ByteDance, a Chinese parent company, sells the platform by January 19. After losing an appeal in a federal court, TikTok said it would go to the U.S. Supreme Court under right to free speech to fight the ban. The U.S. government alleges TikTok allows Beijing to collect data and spy on users. China and the company denied these claims. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the man who fatally shot United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Police believe the suspect, who fled into Central Park on an electric bike, has since left New York City. A backpack believed to belong to the suspect was recovered in Central Park during a secondary search. Authorities are urging the public to assist as the investigation passes the crucial 48-hour window. Mexico's president has launched an investigation after 13 children reportedly died from contaminated intravenous nutrition at 4 central hospitals. Authorities are working to determine the cause and prevent further incidents. Netflix debuts its series 100 Years of Solitude in Cuba, adapting Gabriel Garcia Marquez's iconic novel. The presentation was part of Havana's new Latin American Film Festival. Actress Jacqueline Arenal highlighted Cuba's deep admiration for Marquez's work. And Taylor Swift's final Eras Tour concerts kicked off in Vancouver, drawing fans from around the world. Fans exchanged bracelets, posed with Swift cover art and dressed to represent Swift's iconic music eras. The record-breaking tour has boosted economies and thrilled fans globally. Time now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri to visit Dhaka on December 9 amid attacks on minorities. In World Chess Championship, D. Gukesh and Ding Luren to clash again in the 10th game.
Is there some warmth building up on the India-China front after a long period of chill?
Galwan has been the biggest game changer, a turning point in Indian perception of the defense preparedness. They have underestimated the capability and the staying power of Indian armed forces. It's a big lesson for China.
When this government took over, they were very clear from day one. They allocated very high budget on development of infrastructure. The kind of infrastructure development that we have done has put China on a slight back foot.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Spokesperson of India's Ministry of External Affairs, Randeep Jaiswal, confirmed on Friday that Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri will be visiting Bangladesh on 9th December. During the visit, he will meet his Bangladeshi counterpart. There will be several other meetings too during the visit, in which he will try to understand the prevailing situation in India's neighbouring nation. He will also take part in Foreign Office consultations between the two countries. This is the first major visit of an Indian official to Bangladesh in recent months that is suffering from violence against minorities, especially the Hindus.
Foreign Secretary is is scheduled to visit Bangladesh on 9th of December, and he will meet his counterpart, and there will be several other meetings during the visit. Foreign Office consultations led by the Foreign Secretary is a structured engagement between India and Bangladesh. We look forward to this meeting. We want to reiterate our position again that they have legal rights, and we hope that these legal rights will be respected and that the trial will be fair, transparent.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in Qatar, where he is attending the Doha Forum panel to tackle conflict resolution in a new era. The panel includes Qatar's Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani and Norway's Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide. The External Affairs Minister will travel to Bahrain on Sunday, where he will co-chair the 4th India-Bahrain High Joint Commission with his counterpart Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will visit Russia on Sunday to attend 21st meeting of India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation. During the visit, Defence Ministers of India and Russia will review the entire range of multifaceted relations between the two countries in the field of defence, including military-to-military and industrial cooperation. Defence Minister will also commission the Indian Navy's latest multi-role stealth-guided missile frigate INS Tushil at Yantra Shipyard, Kaliningrad, and pay tributes at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Moscow to honour the Soviet soldiers killed during the Second World War. Now, the Ashtalakshmi Mahotsav, a flagship event by the Government of India to celebrate the vibrant culture and development of the northeastern states, attracted 1,000 visitors at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. The highlight of Day 2 is the first technical session titled Catalyzing Northeast Progress for a Viksit Bharat at 2047, focused on unlocking the immense potential of northeastern region in shaping a developed India.
क्षेत्रों को केवल ऑर्गेनाइज और लाइसेंस और कोटा बढ़ाने की बात नहीं है, बात ये है, मैं आपको कहूँ, और वो आगरूट से लगा हुआ है, वो हॉर्टिकल्चर के साथ लगा हुआ है, वो हैंडीक्राफ्ट हैंडलूम के साथ लगा हुआ है। आज क्या होता है कि जो हमारे लोगों की क्षमता है, चाहे वो बुनकर हो, चाहे हॉर्टिकल्चरिस्ट हो, उनको आप पूरा वैल्यू चेन बनाओ। या तो आप पाइनएप्पल की बात करो, या मोगा या एरी सिल्क की बात करो, या आगर की बात करो। उन लोगों को जो मेहनत मशक्कत करते हैं और पीढ़ियों से, ये पूर्वजों से विरासत में उनको मिली है, उनको उस पूरे वैल्यू चेन का केवल 5 या 10% मिलता है। बाकी 90% वैल्यू चेन बाकी इंडस्ट्री ले जाती है। हमारा लक्ष्य होना चाहिए, और यही मैंने हमारे प्रदेश शासनों से भी निवेदन किया है कि साथ में मिलकर काम करना चाहिए कि उस वैल्यू चेन का सबसे बड़ा भाग हमारे स्थानीय लोगों को मिलना चाहिए, ताकि उनकी आमदनी हम लोग बढ़ा पाएं।
And the second international conclave jointly organized by the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India and Insol India was held in New Delhi today. The theme of the conclave, Insolvency Resolution, Evolution and Global Perspective, explored the global evolution of insolvency resolution and aimed to foster a collaborative approach to addressing key challenges in insolvency and restructuring. Deputy Governor, Reserve Bank of India, M. Rajeshwar Rao, spoke about the current insolvency landscape in the country.
I think it's a very good legislation and it has given good results. So, but there are challenges and some issues which need to be resolved, which is what I will highlight.
Next chairperson, State Bank of India, Rajneesh Kumar, talked about the challenges in India's insolvency framework.
Main challenges are all around the timely resolution, that is one, and it is not responsibility of one person or one institution. It is responsibility for all, including the institutional creditors, including the adjudicating authorities, NCLT, and the courts. So there's a large ecosystem around it, but it is in everybody's interest that the resolution happens in a timely manner, because there is a time value of money. So that is the biggest challenge I will, and there is an overload also. That is another reason that how do we reduce the overload. So I think that is the major challenge in my view.
All right, sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. Travis Head provided Australia with an upper hand and got dismissed for 140 by Mohammad Siraj. Pat Cummins has now been joined by Mitchell Starc. In fact, Pat Cummins has got out and Mitchell Starc is batting on 18, and at dinner break Australia were 332 for 8 and they lead India by 152 runs in the Pink Ball Test match. And we are talking about day 2. Travis Head scored 140, while from India Jasprit Bumrah took 4 wickets and Mohammad Siraj has taken 2 wickets so far. And earlier on day 1, Mitchell Starc's onslaught saw Australia bundle out India on a paltry 180 runs. Starc was India's chief destroyer. He gave the host a dream start by removing Yashasvi Jaiswal in the first ball of the match and ended with 6 wickets to his name. And in World Chess Championship, Indian challenger D. Kukesh and China's world champion Ding Liren will look to have a breakthrough after a series of draws when they meet in Game 10 on Saturday. The draw on Thursday in Game 9, which was the 7th of the match and 6th on the trot, has left both players on an identical score of 4.5 points each. Ding had not won a classical chess game since January 2024 before the championship began on 25th November at the Resorts World Sentosa in Singapore, but stunned the world with a victory in Game 1 before losing to Gukesh in Game 3. The other 7 matches so far have ended in a draw. In both the players are still level on points after their 14th and final classical game next Thursday. Half-hour rapid and if needed 3-minute blitz tiebreakers will decide the winner next Friday. An Olympic-themed Christmas tree illuminated Milan's famous Piazza Duomo on Friday, 14 months before it hosts the 2026 Winter Games. The 27.5-meter Norwegian spruce tree is adorned with Olympic and Paralympic branding for the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. Thousands of residents gathered in the center of the city for this ceremony. And India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.